What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel, and welcome specifically to a brand new segment that I'm calling Radical or Rational with Roma, where we're going to kind of divulge and break down opinion pieces from feminists. Is it radical or is it, pretty freaking rational? Today we are going to be responding to this feminist who I have absolutely no idea how to pronounce her name, and I don't want to butcher it and be disrespectful. So I'm going to wait till I hear her say it, and I'm just going to show you her page instead. Since this is a new segment, I'm just going to dive right into it so I don't get you all bored and lose you before it even begins. So let's go. Just in case that went a little bit too fast for you, the caption said, "The streets welcoming me back after another failed relationship." Okay.
At this point, comments on videos like this just make me want to ask, do heterosexual men even like women anymore?
So just in case you couldn't have gathered already, obviously the response was not very good, which I don't really understand why, because I think most of us kind of understand what it's like to get out of a really hard relationship and kind of just want to hoe around a little bit. I mean, come on, is this the fucking 60s? Can't be hoes anymore? Come on, guys and girls do it, but let's continue.
The question is not about if we even like any women anymore. The real question is why do you women sit here and say that you want good men, get a good man, dump them, go after a toxic guy, get done dirty, get hurt, go back to the streets, say men aren't shit, and then you can't find a good man? That's the real question.
I mean, I'm not denying that this doesn't happen, because it certainly does, and I've even seen men do this to really good women, but bro, where in her video did she say that any of that happened? That seems like a fat projection, personally. And honestly, you know what else it seems like? It seems like he automatically assumed that the relationship breakdown was her fault. And for that, I just want to know why. You had absolutely no backstory, and you just damn, you unloaded the whole wheelbarrow on her ass. Jesus Christ.
Take accountability and let's see what answers you and other women have for that. Tired of hearing nice guys are boring.
Okay, I get what he's talking about, because I know that I've personally responded to videos where girls are literally saying as soon as he starts being too nice to me, I'm bored, whatever the hell that means. But she also said none of that. What does she need to take accountability for? She just made a damn statement that the relationship failed. We're just gonna automatically assume that she needs to take accountability for that? That seems like you kind of hate women, man. Jesus.
You thought you ate that, didn't you? You indeed did not. Plate still sitting there full of food, child.
That term is relatively new to me, so I'm still figuring out what it means, but boy do I love it, and boy do I appreciate it. Let's keep listening.
I feel like that was something for the journal, because that felt real personal.
Do I love that phrase? Yes, I do. Do I think I'm gonna borrow it? Yes, I absolutely am.
I don't know what happened to you, sir. I don't know what happened, but this whole good guy, nice guy narrative, anytime I hear a guy say that, I don't think that he's a good guy. I don't think that he's a nice guy, because I don't think that's something that needs to be verbally proved.
Absolutely, and I know that is something that we have covered on this channel. A nice guy doesn't need to proclaim that he's nice. That's not really something that you get to label yourself as. You know what I mean? We should just be living our lives trying to be our best selves. And if other people are yo, that dude's a really nice dude, cool. But save that for other people to say about you, don't be walking around self-proclaiming it, because 9 times out of 10, that just means that it's not true, okay? And I know this because people try to say that I'm a really nice person, but in my mind, I'm I'm pretty sure I'm a freaking asshole. So do nice people really know that they're nice people? Some of them do, I'm sure. Anyways, let's continue.
Now, I'm not saying what he said doesn't happen.
This is why I actually have some respect for this woman, because she's able to acknowledge, hey, this actually does happen, which is super rare in the feminist community. It's really rare for feminists to be able to be hey, actually, I acknowledge that this shit does happen, and I understand why some people may feel a certain way about it. I really liked that.
But overall, in general, women are the ones to sit in relationships. Sit in relationships with shitty men, wait for the shitty men to be unshitty, and these shitty men do not unshitty themselves.
Although I agree with the statement that there are men out there who just do not unshitty themselves. Love it. I don't really know if it's fair to say that the women are, for the most part, the ones sitting in shitty relationships, because I have tons of guy friends, and I also like am exposed to a lot of the male community, and I hear lots and lots and lots of stories about men going through abusive relationships, and like I can tell you that they share the very same ideology that us women do when we stay. Like, we stay because we feel like we can change them. We feel like we know their true potential. Like, we're not very much different. And especially in cases of abuse, like the cycle of abuse is very real for men and women, and that can affect them both. So I don't necessarily know if it's fair to say that women are staying more. I just don't know if we're necessarily hearing the stories from the men, you know?
I do think that you do have women that will leave somebody who's not toxic for somebody who is toxic. But I think that anybody that does something like that is stuck in a trauma bond and they need therapy.
Facts. Oh my God. Again, there's the acknowledgement that it actually happens. But what she's also kind of saying is like, instead of us just going straight to be like, oh, this person is just so freaking toxic, like maybe we could have a level of understanding and say, what has this person been through? In order for them to go to somebody who is toxic, leaving somebody who is so good for them, like, is that really somebody that we should be like demonizing and making them feel more like shit about themselves? Or should we kind of look at them and be like, damn, you got some demons and I'm gonna pray for you. I hope you're okay, you know?
And it's not to make excuses for them. It's really concerning whether a man does it or whether a woman does it.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just wanted to clap for the fact that, like, damn, she's good at, like, the acknowledging and the equal stuff, and damn. Okay, let's keep going. I'm so sorry for that outburst.
Whether a man does it or whether a woman does it, it's a little problematic. But I don't know why some of these men are so stuck on thinking that women are the only issue.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I'm seeing this so much recently because my community is not only tagging me in videos to respond to like toxic feminists, but they're also tagging me in videos asking me to respond to toxic men as well, which is awesome. Equality, right? But what that's making me more aware of is that there are so many men that do genuinely think that like other men can do no wrong and that women must be the core of the issue. We see it predominantly in like single mothers, which is really just reflective of the fact that like women are heavily ridiculed when relationships shut down. And we see evidence of that purely here by the video where the girl just said, hey, I'm back to the streets after a failed relationship. And that guy went off on her like the freaking Teletubbies. That doesn't make any sense because they don't actually talk. But anyways, that guy just went off on her, basically accusing her of like being the issue and she needs to take all this accountability and blah, blah, blah. What? You know that we're not the only ones that can cause a relationship to fail, right? Jesus.
Because not only did he just admit in that video that men aren't shit because he said that there are toxic men. So we admit that there are men who don't know how to have emotionally and mental and physical healthy relationships with women.
Lost me there. See, the fact that there are toxic men out there does not mean that men ain't shit, because I know that she would 100% reject the statement if a man were to be like, yeah, there's toxic women out there, so like women ain't shit. And in fact, she really is rejecting that in her video right now, that the whole idea, because that's basically what the guy said. So that's just first of all. Second of all, I do really wish that she was able to apply the same empathy and understanding that she did towards the women who like do that whole trauma bond, trauma response stuff in relationships, because we do this thing in society where we just like expect men to get stuff even though they weren't taught it. So when you're talking about like an example of men not being shit because they don't know how to like emotionally attach and have these types of relationships, like, can we really look at them and be like, oh God, you big piece of shit, when like they're the ones that are really being like the most affected by it, right? And sure, like they could be walking around projecting their trauma onto other women, and that's shitty of them. They shouldn't do that. But at the end of the day, like they're the ones that are suffering the most. And the fact that we can't give like very much understanding to them, we almost like blame them for that, is kind of harsh. So like, I don't necessarily agree with that statement. That's just me.
Now let's address the nice guy, good guy narrative. Have y'all noticed that only men say that?
No, I'd never actually thought about it before, but to be 100% honest with you, I don't know if I've ever heard a woman claim to be a nice guy. Or like a nice girl or something. You know what I mean. I get her point. I've never heard it. Have you? Let me know in the comments, for real.
You do not have women walking around here talking about how they're such a nice girl, how they're such a nice woman, how come they can't get a man because they're so... Like, only men participate in this nice person ideology.
You might be onto something there, because genuinely, I can't prove you wrong. However, when guys are doing this whole like I'm a nice guy thing, yeah, it doesn't look very good, but at the end of the day they're trying to validate themselves to the women around them. And I think that women, we do a different form of this. We just do it a lot more subtly and it's not as noticeable. And I think we do it with like our looks, right? It's all about validation. Like if we need more validation from men, we will like change our clothes, push our tits up, maybe do some makeup. Those are the insecure ones, right? Just like the insecure men are claiming to be nice guys. You know what I mean?
And if we dig a little deeper into that, just because you are a nice guy or you're convinced that you're a nice guy, that doesn't mean a woman is entitled to being with you.
Yes, this is 100% factual. We can be nice to somebody all freaking day long, okay? But if we're like one doing that, like expecting that person to like us, number one, like sub A, it's probably not gonna work, okay? But like number two, like we are, just because we're being nice to somebody does not mean that person like has to like us back. We are not entitled to anything from that person. And you know, I've seen women struggle with this as well many freaking times. And women struggle with their own version of this, except it's like with money almost. Like they think that if they're pretty, then like dudes have to spend their money on them. And if they don't, then like there's something wrong with the dude. You know what I mean? Again, a lot of this stuff we actually both do as genders. It's just, it performs itself very differently. Anyways, I just thought that was interesting to add. You can be nice to somebody all freaking day long. You can give them the world, but if their brain is not like chemically wired to be attracted to you, to look at you like that, be sexually attracted to you, all that jazz, all the stuff you need to have like a meaningful, consensual relationship, then don't be mad at that person. Just like, go find somebody who like go find that chemistry with somebody else. There are so many people that just spend so much time like worried and concerned about like who wants to bang them or not, and like who's sticking them in the friend zone. And we don't really take time to like appreciate the relationships we have. We're always trying to make something out of it, get more out of it. I have definitely lost a handful of relationships, like good friendships with guys, because we were friends. They never told me that they liked me. And then randomly out of the blue, they were like, hey, I like you. I guess they just thought that them being nice was like enough for me to like them back. And it was, like, I like you as a person, as a friend. I'm just not sexually attracted to you. And then after I would tell them that, it's like they would be mad at me. And like I had used them or some shit. And it just never made any sense to me. It made me feel like an object, and it made me feel like I wasn't enough. Like my friendship wasn't enough. And it's tough because I know when you actually like somebody, it's not that like guys are just liking them for their body and they just want to possess these women. Like they genuinely like these women for who they are. I believe that those guys actually liked me for who I was, but it was still hurtful. Like it didn't make it any less hurtful when they were mad at me because I didn't like them back. You know?
You being a nice person is not enough. And to be honest, a lot of times when y'all say that y'all are nice guys, y'all are not nice guys. You're saying that to try to convince yourself of it, and you're saying that to try to convince other women of that. But a lot of y'all do not be nice men.
Or you've come to a place where you're victimizing yourself and you think that like it's time to have a freaking pity party. But at the end of the day, like, yeah, like it's not. Like, stop being so concerned about who's gonna want to bang you and just focus on like genuinely being yourself. I promise you, your person will come if you do that. That sounded dirty.
You do not be nice guys. You try to manipulate women, you try to gaslight women into thinking you're such a great person, and when they get with you, you're a shitty person to them.
Just to clarify, she's not talking about men as a whole. She's talking about the men who sit up on the internet, complain about being a nice guy, wondering why they're not getting any poo-tang.
Like, if you're a nice person, that does not have to go say it. People are just going to know. So when I constantly see guys say stuff like that, I don't think that you're a nice guy. I don't think that you're a good person. I think that you're a wolf in sheep's clothing.
That's pretty factual to me. My conclusion, radical or rational? I would say for the most part, honestly, pretty freaking rational. I think what she said for the most part was quite on point, except I didn't agree with like maybe 2 parts there, but other than that, like, yeah, what she said made sense, don't you think? I see a lot of rhetoric every single day of how it's women's faults when relationships fail, and there's like no recognition that it might not be her fault. And then not only that, but you have guys that are like out here victimizing themselves, being like, oh, well, why don't these women want me? Well, maybe it's because you're giving off like hot dog water vibes. You know what I mean? You're giving off the same vibes as these women who get like a bunch of plastic surgery, are shallow as hell, gold digging up the yin yang, and then sitting there wondering why like no man wants them. Well, maybe because that doesn't really attract anybody. Have you freaking thought of that? Anyways, it's midnight. It's time for me to go to bed. Let me know how you liked this video. Let me know if I should continue this on or not. I worked really hard on this video, so please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to me if you're not already subscribed. In the description below, you can find my link tree that has my Patreon, all my other socials, even like a music video that I was in that was pretty cool. I like it. But anyways, you don't have to check it out if you don't want to. I also have a baby registry posted. Some of you don't know, but like I'm 6 months pregnant. I just want to take a sec to like show off my baby bump because I think it's cute. And I just got it, so anyways, long story short, it's late. I'm going to bed. Let me know how you like this video. Let me know if I should do more in this style. And yeah, keep it real. Don't let these Beckys get any freaking dick. Thanks.
My name is Chloe Roma, and the Roma Army is my vision. We are not who society tells us to be, but who we want to be. We are a men's rights movement, and together we are strong. I am Chloe Roma, and this is my vision for the future.